Welcome everybody. You're here with Mike P. Today I have a very special guest, very interesting story. Good friend of mine. He's a best-selling author, keynote speaker, and social media entrepreneur. He's a founder of Corps Media, a social media management agency designed to help small businesses and entrepreneurs to stand out on social media. He's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, Social Media Examiner, and the Huffington Post, and was even named one of the top 30 entrepreneurs under the age of 30 by influencer.com. After being in more debt than ever been in, he was just featured on Dave Ramsey's show for being debt-free for the first time in his entire adult life. He just released his first book, which debuted on Amazon top 100 of all books in success category. His book is called Fish Out of Water: The Guide to Achieving Breakthrough and Permanently Transforming into the New You. Everybody, please help me welcome Calvin Wayman, everybody.
Hey, Mike. Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my honor to have you with me. So tell us about your story, please.
Sure. So the first thing for people to know is I'm just a regular dude, I think that's super important to know, because when people are getting started, and this was certainly true for me, when you're getting started in the game of leveling up your life or entrepreneurship, we look at people that have had success and we think, well, maybe I couldn't ever get there. I would love to, but we kind of put people on a pedestal and think, I don't know if I could get there. And so I want to make it a point, and I do this as much as I can with anybody that I'm talking to, anybody that's here watching me, is when I started just about 20 months ago, I was still an employee, had nothing going on for me, didn't have any of one of the things that you graciously talked about in that intro, just barely. So I'm a regular dude, just somebody that I quit my day job because I wanted to go after something bigger.
Yeah.
Broke through some fears to do that, and that's what I'm doing now, is just doing the things to
I heard that
take action every day.
I heard that you went you never be a salesman before, and you went door-to-door selling, right?
Well, that's partly true. So when I first got into sales, I did some phone sales where I had never done sales before. And the reason I got into sales was because I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if anybody's heard of it.
I love that book.
Such a good book. And in that book, he said, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And in that book, he said, no matter what business you get into, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to know how to sell.
Right.
You need to know how to sell. So that's why I got into sales. I was doing phone sales. Now, when I quit my day job about 20 months ago, early 2015, I was like, you know what? I've got to do something to really challenge myself, because if I'm leaving this safety as an employee and now going into entrepreneurship, then I need to do something that just really stretches me, that I know that if I can break through it, that it's going to help me on every aspect of my life. So what I do, I went door to door.
He said you need to know how to do sales. All right. So
yeah,
that's that.
Yeah. In fact, so I got into door-to-door sales to challenge myself, and honestly, almost every day I went. I did it for about a year and a half. I hated almost every day, but I wouldn't change it for anything, because it's been such a great learning experience. So yeah, I got into door-to-door and just started grinding and banging on doors, and that's what helped me become the entrepreneur I am today.
So wow, that's great. Now, what was your turning point? When did you discover your why, and what made you left all that behind? And
it's actually the turning point that made me want to jump in to entrepreneurship, that made me quit my job, even though I didn't know what I was going to do next, even though I had a family, I have a wife, I had a 1-year-old son now that at the time that is now 3 years old. I had all those things, that the fears that we all have, right? I had the debts, I had credit card debt, I had student loans, I had to pay off my car, my rent. So you're asking what was the thing that made me jump? Well, I think what's important here is what it wasn't, because you mentioned the word why, and it's important to have a why. You have to have a why. Like my big why was freedom. I wanted to have the freedom to create impact on the world, to live the life I actually want to live and not be employee in my whole life. But what's interesting is the thing that actually got me to quit was not my big why.
Okay.
It was actually a negative thing, not a positive thing.
Okay.
It was a bigger fear that swallowed those smaller fears.
What was that? What was that big fear?
This is what it was. I was sitting, I'll never forget it. I was sitting one day and I projected myself 10 years in the future. And I was debating whether I should quit my job or jump into this thing or just keep going. And as I projected myself 10 years into the future, I thought, what if I wake up 10 years down the road and nothing has changed? What if it's all the exact same?
Yeah.
And I basically had a conversation with my 10-year older self and was like, dude, what should I do? And I just saw myself in my mind 10 years older. And he basically said, Calvin, right now you have a 1-year-old. In 10 years, our 1-year-old is going to be 14, or sorry, my math is off because I'm thinking he's 3 now. He's going to be 11, and maybe you're going to have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old and a newborn. Like, you're going to have more responsibility as you get older, not less.
Yeah.
So if you're ever going to do it, if there's ever a good time, do it now. Now, that was the advice, but here's the biggest fear. Not only did I have the fear of what if nothing's changed and I'm just more stuck than ever.
Yeah.
This is the thing that really got me. As an aspiring entrepreneur, wanting freedom, I had this burning desire, this hunger that I wanted it so bad. I would look at Gary Vaynerchuk and Grant Cardone and Lewis Howes and Tim Ferriss and all of these amazing people that are living the type of life I want. And I had this fire to live that way so bad. And I thought this, what if I wake up 10 years down the road and the fire that I have to make a difference died?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I learned, from my mentor, that, a lot of people feel that they wasted, they didn't want to waste that, 4 years in college. So they kept, they're stuck in what they learned. So they are afraid to change, right? But
yeah,
for me, I feel that, why, don't feel that you wasted that 4 years, but what about the next 40 years of your life, right?
Right.
So don't worry about the last 4 years, 8 years, 6 years in college, but the rest of your life. If you're gonna be doing something that you don't like, I mean, why waste the rest of your life doing that, right? So that's
absolutely.
So
and you got to know that when you're first getting into entrepreneurship, because the little bit that when you begin, it's not going to be the best, but you have to have the why in mind too. So well, I'm doing this for the freedom and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, you just like an example of just, an ordinary guy, actually just, I guess, typical American, people, have debt and all this. How did you overcome that fear? Because, I mean, this is a big issue for a lot of people, like, overcoming fear.
The fear to jump?
Yeah.
The fear to, again, here's the real truth. I didn't. And that's something that is so important, is you're always going to have fear. Right? But what you have to learn is to just act anyway, in spite of the fear. Now, here's something that freezes us even more. What freezes even more is this idea of perfection. We think that it has to be exactly right. The reason we don't want to jump into entrepreneurship is because, or whatever we want to do, write a book or a painting, or to go after being an actress, whatever it is, something we think it has to be exactly right. And it's the fear of people judging us because it's not perfect. So we think that perfection, so we get paralyzed by perfection. So something that has helped me quite massively is the concept of the most successful people in the world are members of the CIA. They take consistent imperfect action. And something that my mentor taught me, he said, done is better than perfect, right?
Yeah.
If you realize that done's better than perfect, then instead of focusing on perfection, you focus on completion. Then you will go progressing instead of freezing, right? So I think it's cool. It's awesome. It's important to be real, knowing that you're going to have fear, but look fear in the face and take action anyway.
Yep. Done better than perfect, everybody. All right. Now, what is your vision for the next, 3 years, 5 years? What do you look your lives in the next 3 years, 5 years from now?
3 to 5 years is it's a special time. I'm going to only be 35, which is super young. Well, around that in 5 years. I'm 29 right now, so between 32, 34, 35, and by then, my vision is to have my business or businesses completely automated and just living a life that not only do I have the freedom that I want so I can travel with my family and live the life that I want and not be restricted in any way, but what I'm doing from a passion standpoint, it's kind of what I'm doing right now, but I want to do it on a bigger scale, and that is impacting people's lives and inspiring them to have permission to act on their dreams.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that's what holds a lot of people back. It's what held me back is
they don't even dare to dream.
They don't realize that it's possible. And once people have that permission and they see that it's possible, everything changes. And I want to unlock that. There's this cool story from Roger Bannister that I think is so important for people to know. And that's Roger Bannister's known for being the first person to ever run a 4-minute mile, right? Which is an insanely big feat. What's crazy though is for decades, people had tried it and they all failed. Mm-hmm. And so it became a belief of society, doctors, lawyers, scientists, people in general thought it was impossible for anybody to run a 4-minute mile. Then Roger Bannister did. Now, while that's huge, what's even more huge is how long Roger Bannister's record actually lasted. That's not talked about very much. And this is how long his record lasted. Now, logic would say, because it took humanity decades and decades to produce a Roger Bannister, it should take at least many more decades to produce another Roger Bannister for somebody else to run a 4-minute mile, right? Make sense? Right. But here's the thing. Roger Bannister's record only lasted a whopping 46 days.
Wow.
It only lasted a month and a half. Wow. Not 5 years, not 10 years, not 20 years. 46 days. Now, why is that? Once somebody did it, it gave the rest of the world permission that they could do it, but also belief that it could be done. Once people's belief shifted and they see somebody that has done it, and they have the permission they can go after it too, then it changes everything. So that's something I'm passionate about and something I want to spread more, and is my vision over the next 3 to 5 years is spreading that to more people throughout the world. Yeah.
Wow, that's great, man. That's gonna inspire a lot of people. People want to see. I asked some people around, and they said that they don't want to see celebrities. They want to see ordinary people doing it. They want to see ordinary people just like you, in action doing.
That's what it is.
So this is great. And now, if you can describe yourself one word, what you want to be known for, okay? One word, what would you describe yourself for?
That is such a good question. I've never been asked that before in the dozens and dozens of times I've been interviewed. So one word that I want to be known for, like my legacy when I'm gone.
Right.
I want to represent the idea of what you just said, that a regular person can do it. In fact, that's what all extraordinary people are ordinary people that do extra of the ordinary.
Right.
And that's what makes them extraordinary.
Yeah.
So
one sentence that you want the world to know you for.
An ordinary dude that became extraordinary by doing extra of the ordinary.
Awesome.
That's it.
If money is not a problem right now, what will you be doing? Let's say, you know, this next year. If you have all the money in the world right now, what is the thing that what are you gonna do right now?
Two things. The first one is doing exactly what is in my 3 to 5 year vision, impacting more people's lives with giving them permission to live the life of their dreams and knowing that they can. There's just too many people that just don't have the permission because they weren't parented properly or whatever. They just need to know that they can actually go after it. So there's that. But also, if money is not an object, I have this crazy idea of traveling to 30 countries in 12 months. I have not been to any country outside of the US.
Okay.
I just got my passport that's sitting right here.
Nice.
Just got my passport. So that's something that I want to be doing. So I'd be doing that, doing everything I could at 30 countries in 12 months.
All right. Wow. So that's about what? Like more than 2 countries a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, one quote that I saw, because you have these events that you know present, and you know that you have workshop and things like that.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about, you know, I'm gonna quote him on this. He said, "It's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you."
Yeah.
Now, you talk about these 4 C's. Can you tell us a little bit more about, you know, what this 4 C's is for a lot of people who don't know what those are?
Yeah. So the 4 C's are the 4 C's to social media success, and those are the things that we live in the modern age, and part of the modern age that you can't ignore, well, you could, but if you want to grow as a business or as a person, is social media. Social media is part of the world, of the ecosystem that you're in. And the 4 C's are the 4 things that if you do them well, you will stand out like crazy on social media. And those 4 C's are content, context, consistency, and connection. Do these 4 C's, you will blow up. Content is anything that you post. You have to have content that tells a story of who you are, what you're about, and what you believe in. It needs to be in the right context, meaning every social platform is like a different room. It's like a different setting. It has its own context. So what you do on Instagram needs to be different than what you do on Twitter. What you do on Twitter needs to be different than what you do on Facebook. So jump in, get familiar with each platform, and create the content within that context, okay? Without content, you don't exist. Without the right context, you're not respected and it's not received. The 3rd C is consistency. This is where a lot of people fail. If I ask you to think of a big yellow M in fast food, you automatically know McDonald's, right? If I say just do it, you automatically know the brand Nike. Right. The reason we know those is because they have been so relentlessly consistent in who they are. So that's what you have to do, is be consistent in who you are, in what you represent, but also how often you're posting. Most people don't post enough, so they're not recognized and they're not remembered. So you need to be posting, instead of 2 to 3 times a week, like most people, it needs to be 2 to 3 times a day. That will help you get recognized and remembered. Then the last C, the most important of all, the reason we do anything on social media, is to build connections. Connections with your people and your audience. And it can be so simple. If you do this piece, this is what will stand out like crazy, because nobody's doing this. When somebody adds you on Facebook, you can go to the message, or you can go to the messenger and send them a voice memo that says their name and says, "Thank you so much for adding me." If somebody follows you on Instagram, you can do a video that said, "Hey, I just noticed that you followed me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it." Build those connections. You build those connections. That's what will help you stand out and grow to the next level. And that's using those 4 things together. Content, telling your story, who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in the right context, do it consistently, and build connections. You'll stand out past 97% of everybody else on social media.
Wow. Okay, so everybody, did you get that? So that's 4 C's. It's content. He said content is king. Context is God.
God, yes.
Right.
Yes.
consistency and connection. All right.
Yes.
Now, one tip, about that connection thing you mentioned. When I meet people, when I go to this event, right, what I do is just very similar to that. I take picture, selfie with them, right, and then I send it to the messenger right away. No, it's just my I do that.
That's how you and I connected. That was awesome at that at the Life on Fire event. You did a selfie, and when I got that, I was like, not only did I get the picture, but I now remembered, oh, this was Mike. And at an event like that, you'd meet dozens and dozens of people, but that made you stand out above everybody else.
Oh yeah, it's just natural to me. Like I just love. I mean, I'm Asian, man. I love taking pictures.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Now, just a little, some touch on this book. So, Fish Out of Water, man. I like this. I love this name. So you are fish out of water, right?
Anybody is a fish out of water that goes after anything bigger in their life. So, what Fish Out of Water is all about is everything we've talked about so far already. Like when you're jumping into something bigger, and in fact, we're around the new year, right? And so everybody's setting New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
What Fish Out of Water is about is it's a book explaining a concept that is not ever talked about in goal setting. People talk about having a why, which is important. They talk about this is your SMART goal to get to your target. But what they don't talk about is this phenomenon that happens around February when people set New Year's resolutions. So this is what happens. Everybody at the beginning of the year sets the New Year's resolutions, right?
Right.
They're excited. They're going to get in the best shape of their life, their best body, the best finances, and they start taking action on it. The gyms are flooded in January. And then in February, what happens? Most people quit, right? Yeah. So you go to the gym in February, it does not look the same as it did the first week of January.
Right. Quite
the opposite. In fact, the depressing stat is 92% of most New Year's resolutions fail. Not succeed, fail. Now, why is that? Why do they fail? That's what I explained. That's what I explain in this book. The reason they fail is after you start taking action on your goal, after you've had the vision, after you've had the plan, but you start taking action on it, you hit this point where the excitement wears off. And you feel weird. You feel out of your element. You feel like you can barely breathe. It just doesn't feel good. You feel like a fish out of water. Hence the name. Now, the problem is with this phase is most people weren't expecting it. And so when they hit that phase, it feels so weird, so out of their element. They feel like such a fish out of water that they end up reverting back to their old fishbowl of comfort zone. Exactly.
Right.
And so what Fish Out of Water is all about is, first of all, expect and recognize that you're going to hit this phase. Don't worry, don't resist it. Know you're going to hit it. So you can plan on it. But at the same time, what are the principles that you can do to break through that fish out of water stage so you don't end up reverting back? You end up breaking through to create a new standard, a new difference, or a new way of living, and become what I call a shark. So that's what it's all about, to break through and to actually hit your goals so that you can achieve the level of success that you want.
You know what I told you this last time, when we met, you sound like Gary Vee, my friend. Man. I can't tell you how big of a compliment that is. Like you could tell me I was the prettiest dude. I was better looking than Brad Pitt, but nothing beats that I remind you of Gary Vee. That's unreal. When I was listening to you, I love the energy. It's just, like when I feel the energy from the stage, and I was like, wow, this dude, got all the energy, just, just like me, I love that. Love that. Okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah, man, that's awesome. So, so how can, people connect with you?
Yeah. Oh, so we mentioned the 4 C's. By the way, something I'm doing right now, cool little promotion to start the year. I've had so many people come up to me and be like, can you give me the next action steps that I can do to step out on social media to blow up my brand in the new year and things like that. So I just barely created something called Social Media Makeover. You can get it at socialmediamakeover.org. It's a $300 value. And what it is personally myself or somebody on my team is going to give people a 20-minute phone conversation, not a PDF, not a paper, an actual live phone conversation where we will give you tips specific to you, what you need for your social media to stand out. Totally free. So you can get it by going to socialmediamakeover.org, and we'll help you stand out, make over your social media, and just blow up in the new year.
Who wouldn't take that, right?
Oh, and then to connect with me anywhere further, you can find me at calvinwayman.com or any social platform, really, whether you're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, you can find me by searching Calvin Wayman.
Awesome. Wow. So that's amazing. So one last words of wisdom for the audience.
Yeah, the one thing I want to leave with is just re-emphasizing something I said earlier, because we have this fear to act. First of all, know that it doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to focus on completion. But know this, people that are extraordinary, the people that you look to, that we all look to, that we put up on a pedestal, they're extraordinary because they just do extra of the ordinary.
Right.
That's what makes them extraordinary. So whatever it is that you want to go after, there's not this big flash of things that you have to go do. Just do extra of the ordinary, and you too.
So they are the ordinary people that just went the extra miles.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Wow. That's amazing, man. Thank you so much, for coming. So there you have it, everybody. Calvin Wayman, everybody.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.